Hey everybody, it's Tafony here once again. Hope you're doing well today. I'm rambling about the Endorphins and Andrew Huang collaboration. It is the Ghost, and it sounds like this. Okay, so disclaimer as always has moved down to the description below, but I feel like when it comes to something like a collaboration, it maybe needs to be said more than regular videos, and I'll just say I bought this one new with my own money. I have interacted with Andrew a very minimal amount of times. We've traded a couple things. I know we're both Canadian synthesizer nerds. If I can just spin out here for a moment, this WMD Metron is or was Andrew's. I'm trying to think what else. I used to have some of Andrew's Ouija Man modules, but I didn't fall in love with them like I did other drum modules. But all just to say that I have some tertiary relationship where usually I don't have any relationship at all. I doubt Andrew would recognize me. I doubt Andrew's ever watched this show, and I spent my own money on this Ghost here. So what is it? 16 HP MFX module. Let's bring myself in more. So I'll just say Ghost has been around probably if I am recalling correctly, I think Ghost came out right around the time I first got into Eurorack. Always piqued my interest, but it's kind of expensive and it was kind of large. Now I have a big system and I don't really mind the size anymore at all. However, I was able to write it off in my mind as probably being a little too pristine or clean for my taste. I never gave it a super deep look or anything because I just figured Andrew makes some poppier, pretty pristine stuff, and there's nothing wrong with doing any of that at all. I just expected the module to sound something like that, something that would probably be great for end of chain clean processing. And this thing absolutely goes insanely hard. I was looking at stereo distortions was kind of how this stumbled back into my gear acquisition syndrome marathon life. There's few stereo distortions that are quite like the Ghost that offers a million other things. And I've said it in a couple other videos that multi-effects, let's swoop this up here, the ALM MFX or the Happy Nerding FX Aid and the are very easy to come by. There's lots of, whether it's the Pico DSP or lots of other multi-effects modules that can do different effects are common, but modules like the Modbat Performer or the Andrew Huang Ghost, not so easy to come by. Modules that can do multiple effects at the same time. So I figured the best way to do this would be to go through piece by piece, module, or not module, effect by effect, and demonstrate it. So, because we listened to so much of that in the first intro, maybe let's switch it up a little bit. What do you say? Let's send a mix from the Piston Honda, because we love the Piston Honda, to Ghost, or to my mix that is sent to the Ghost, I should say. So Piston Honda right now in through the steady state gate. Sorry if this is like super boogly. Let's slow it down a little bit so it's not so bongo-y. Yeah. All right. Totally dry. Now totally dry. So, okay, let's run through the panel piece by piece, letting my synth loop go. Yeah. So we have a tone knob. Up for more treble, down for more bass. There's a shift function for gain, and you can't actually do input driving. There's so many layers of gain staging on here, but we'll talk about that in a moment. I can't help but kind of think it's interesting that there's a tone knob similar to the big filter knob on here, but we'll get to the big filter knob in a moment. There's a distortion, and I really like how the distortion sounds. It just sounds like harmonic on the top end. I believe everything on here is digital, and it sounds great. Here's the compressor, which again sounds great. Now, there's sidechain on this compressor, but the control is for its envelope length, so I'm setting it a clock, and it's able to generate that for pumping effect. And there is cutoff CV knob here. We're not going to set it any modulation, but here's the big cutoff. High pass, low pass. I will say, unlike the issues I had on the Queen of Pentacles, where the sweet spot in the middle of that analog filter was really small, this one has a good old huge dead spot in the middle, which is actually really appreciated because it's easy to land in the middle, right? Like I can get all the way over here without engaging the filter, right? And I really appreciate that because it's easy to do performance stuff and then land in the middle, right? So that's the resonance all the way cranked, and it never gets too crazy. I like that. So turn that down, resonance down. Change filter modes on here. This is the bandpass. And I believe you can do volt per octave tracking on the cutoff CV. Correct me if I'm wrong on that front. Then there is, if you hold it, you get a comb. No, if you hit routing and press it, you get a comb. Yep. And again, this is not the pristine, pretty module that I had expected. It gets really nasty in a way that I love. However, I do love keeping it in the traditional DJ filter style. Then there is a delay with a clock divider right on the panel. Thank you. That is a, yes, tap in as well. But so this is the mix, and this is the repeats amount. And I think you can get it up into like feedbacky territory too. And I don't know if this is because it's 3-tap delay, but it seems to do like nice, almost syncopated stuff when you switch between the clock divisions, and maybe it's just the divisions they chose, but I really like actually jumping through these because you might hate that, but I really enjoy how it makes sort of like a weird syncopated jump to the other ones. Divide it all the way up, mix it all the way in, crank the repeats. And now the routings, you can change the order. So I want to put the order of my effects so that I can filter before that delay. Or distort after it. This thing is just crazy. And I love that for that. I'm so impressed by how willing to go insane they were with it. And I genuinely appreciate that. Now the reverb sounds really good. And it has a tail option, which makes it really easy for drums. And on that note, maybe we'll switch over to the drums. I just love how this thing sounds on drums. And to be totally honest, my plan with it is to just run the drum bus through it. Because you get all your pieces, right? You get your filter, you get your distortion, you get your ducking, you get your everything. Sidechain in, compressor all the way up. It just donks. Instant donkify. But on the reverb front, what's great for drums is you can just set your tail amount, right? Distortion down a bit, so maybe you can hear it better. But I want the distortion. It sounds so good. Right? So you get blend, and then you just get easy amount, right? And I get this nice almost reverse pumping effect. And there is a reverse mode on here too with a button combo, but I won't get into that right away. Let's do, or at least in this video, I think I'll just leave it out because we want to get into it on a quick start here. Freeze for this as well. You can just flood the reverb with freeze. And I think at the longest tail settings, it's also kind of essentially freezing it as well. But that's that, and it sounds really good. It's a nice reverb. Like, just really easy to control, at least for drums, reverb. And if we send our whole mix through, high pass, change that routing to put the high pass before the reverb, and you get this really roomy sound, if that's what you want to do. But again, I kind of like it as a just like master effects on the drum bus, right? But totally reverb designable if you want to go that route. This is a beautiful Holly sounding thing that I was able to sort of drill out by filtering through it. Bring in my bass. And then I'll talk about, take my compressor down a bit. There is a little bit of wave folding that happens at the end of the volume, and it'll get into drive. Yes! What if that was bandpass? And bring it back. I love that. I just... Andrew, we want to see you in a balaclava doing a noise set with the Costco folding table, smashing the microphone. Yes. Reverb in. Routing order changed. Distortion in. Yes. Oh, I love it. Takes the routing. Back in. Just on drums especially. Get that wave folding going. I think that was on Queen of Pentacles. But it just sounds so good here. This white LED indicates that the distortion's clipping. And I'm okay with that because it sounds so good. Toned down. Freeze it. Yes. I love flush response, and I know firsthand now why he always says in his videos, yes, yes. There's that syncopated delay line going. I love that. Bring our drums out. Freeze that tail for transition into just the bass line. Yes. I have a live show coming up in April for a synth meet, and I feel like I'm just gonna run a whole bunch of drum voices into the Ghost and make that my whole set. I'm not even kidding. Put the drums back in. Refreeze my transitionable reverb. There's that syncopation. I love that. That's off all the way too. I love that filter. Even though it's all digital, it sounds great. Yeah, there's shift functions to go over in the following videos, but I just want to get this started. I love the Ghost. Super awesome. Super happy with it. I think one thing we should actually do, just to be boring and bum this jam out, let's do noise test. Everyone says issues with the noise floor. That was in the blush response video as well. Let's hear. Bring myself in. So there is that wave folding at the top of the volume or bit reduction. I would just say you got to be really careful with that, because when it comes to noise floor, that will just crank your noise floor. Take my compression off. Once you just start getting into that range as shown on the panel of overdriving it on the volume side, it does, it goes. But if you're not in that territory, I think that's fine to my ears. Now, I know there's lots of audiophiles in the URAC community that had distortion on too. There's lots of audiophiles in the URAC community that should probably check that out before you take this one home for sure. But if I crank the compressor, crank the distortion, crank the volume, then you hear some. But I think distortion and the compressor are driving and bringing up the sound floor, and then I'm bit folding it or wave folding it or bit reducing it on this overdrive circuit here, which is the big one. If we take our distortion out, we take our compressor off, I don't think there's issues like I had on the Endorphin's Golden Master, which did have issues with the noise floor, but was fine for end of chain on my little pot. So I don't think that's an issue here. If I'm getting into the territory of the overdriving, like wave folding the end of chain, if I'm getting into this territory, I'm not going to really be noticing anything on the floor, but again, if that's something that's important to you, definitely do some research on it. Maybe try it in store before you pick it up. Because obviously this is the kind of music I make, and I don't have a very good ear for those sort of things either, right? So keep that in mind. All right, I'm Tafony. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, like, subscribe, do all of that crap that YouTube is always on my case about not promoting to you. I hope you're doing well. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.